So this is an older movie. It came out in 2012. And again, as I always say, I usually don't care how old or new a TV show or movie is. At the end of the day, for me, entertainment is entertainment. If I'm scrolling on a streaming service or if I hear about something that I haven't seen, then if it looks interesting, I'll watch it. So, here's the cast. It's a very small cast. Danielle Panabaker as Shay, Nicole Laliberte as Lou, Andrew Howard as Terry, Michael Stahl David as Simon, Liam Aiken as Tyler, Matthew Roach as Officer Daniels. And then that's it for that. So, I got to tell you right now. So, the movie had started off at SXSW, which is South by Southwest, which is an annual film festival where they show, do the early releases of movies. It takes place in Austin, Texas. I really wish they had one of those here in Michigan, preferably in Wayne, Macomb, or Oakland County, or Washtenaw, but digress a little bit. So, and you know me, for the most part, usually the amount of money that a movie makes at the box office or what their budget is, for the most part, that has no effect on, my decision to watch it. I will tell you that the box office for this movie was insanely low. But I watched it anyway because I was just curious. And to those of you that are curious, it's available to watch on Plex. It's free. Now, so I couldn't find what the budget on the movie was. It says under $1 million, but that doesn't really, it's not telling me the exact number. And the box office on the movie was just less than 7,600. Now, that tells me right there that going into this movie, I don't expect too much good. And for the most part, that's kind of what I got. So here's the reviews on the movie. And Movie Insider gave it a 5 out of 10. So that would be 64%. Rotten Tomatoes, 25%. It says 22 to 25%. Internet Movie Database gave it a 48%. Slant Magazine, 25%. So now here's the basis of the movie. So here's a synopsis here. Now one describes it as, after a series of bad experiences with men, Shay teams up with her coworker, Lou, who has a simple, deadly way of dealing with the opposite sex. Here's one that describes it a little better. After a young female college student blows off a party to go on a romantic weekend away with her older lover, she discovers her older lover wants to end the relationship. That would be Terry, played by Andrew Howard. On the rebound, she goes out for drinks with a colleague where they meet a couple of guys, one of which turns out to be not as nice as he seems. That's a little bit of an understatement. I'll get into that in a bit. Following this traumatic experience, the two young women embark on a course of violent revenge against the attackers and anyone else who gets in their way. So let me just dive into it a little bit. And there is going to be some spoiler alert here, and you can still, again, watch the movie if you want to. But so after they meet those couple of guys, they go to one of the guys' houses, and they're drinking, they're smoking, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she wants to go home. Simon follows her to her apartment. He asks her, for her number, and she says, "Hey, I have a boyfriend, blah, blah, blah." And he says, okay. He says, "Okay, well, how about a kiss?" And then she says, "Hey, I told you I have a boyfriend, blah, blah." So then this is where he starts to get out of control, and he violently attacks her and sexually assaults her. And I got to tell you, that right there, this movie kind of almost reminds me of something similar to Last House on the Left, the 2009 version, but a little bit in reverse. Parts of it are in reverse. So because of that, she goes to the police. Of course, nothing much is really done about that. So she teams up with her friend Lou, and they go on this killing spree where they They lured him into a place. They tortured him, cut off his feet, and she shoots him in the head, and he dies. And the rest of the movie is really just about taking their revenge out on men who have wronged them, or how they felt wronged him, or how they felt wronged them, and they just kill him. That's 95% of the movie is basically just women killing men. And there's a reason why a lot of these reviews are this low. Now, it does have some positive reviews on it, because at the end of the day, I mean, every opinion is its own. Okay? Everybody has their own perspective, their own perception. Here's what some of it says on the Google audiences, which, by the way, according to Google users, says 66%, which is a little bit higher than I expected. But so far, that's the best rating you're probably going to get on this movie here. One person says, I love this movie, but not for the reasons I first thought. Watching girls with guns on a vendetta is nothing new, but the nonchalant way that the two leading ladies set about their vengeance is indicative of the film's title. All of the male parts remained intact until a well-placed bullet splattered their parts across the screen, to the satisfaction of the viewer's lust for moral blood-fueled saturation. To say that I was ultimately on the side of all the victims, both male and female, by the end credits would be to oversimplify, but why complicate a story as old as time itself? This person here who wrote a 3-star says, it was an okay movie. Some of the guys got what they deserved, but I felt sorry for the last guy. He actually seemed like he was a nice guy. The woman got a bit possessive in the end. Okay, so now let me explain that part. And I agree with what she's saying on that. So what they're saying is, at the end of near the end of the movie, Shay meets a guy named Tyler, and he did genuinely come across as a nice guy. And so far, he hadn't said or done anything wrong. And they go to some bar and grill place, and I guess he's doing his music or whatever. And Lou comes out with a sword and basically slices him in the stomach and in the head. And when Shay finds out about it, Lou's only explanation is, I did it because I want to protect you. And of course, Shay is incredibly ticked off, and she kills her friend Lou. And before Lou dies, she says, I love you, before dying. And then Shay goes to her job at the bar. She's a bartender and a waitress. And while she goes on break, she notices that a girl is crying over there, and she basically tells her, yeah, it's about a guy. And in the closing scene, she's smoking a cigarette with an image of Lou behind her. This wasn't my favorite movie, to say the least. Do I think this was the worst thing ever created? Not necessarily. I mean, I could think of some things that were even less worth watching. One person here who wrote a 1-star says, complete waste of time. The point was not clear, a lot of boring scenes, and where was the police? Too many people got killed, and there are no police. Don't watch it. This one right here says, this is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It is a simple waste of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 5 seconds. They were really exact about the time. I would just say an hour and a half, or even almost 2 hours. 3-star right here says, psycho killer movie full of violence, thrill, revenge, Lucy, and there's just a bunch of letters right here that are not really forming complete words or sentences, so I don't know what that's supposed to imply, so we're going to skip that one. This 1-star says, horrible directing, overall very poor, like a student project. Now, I think that some of the discussion is expanded and a little more interesting when I go to Reddit. So there is a section on here on Reddit that deals with this movie. And I think that their take on it was actually quite legit. I think it was well worded. It was very articulate, an eloquent point. This person here posted this. So I don't know how many people even know this movie exists. I can tell you right now, objectively, a vast majority of the United States does not know that this movie exists. That's why the box office was less than 7,600. And if I had to guess, I would say the movie was only released in 2, maybe 3 different theaters across the country. If I'm willing to guess, outside of Austin, I'm thinking Chicago. If it's in Ohio, I would maybe say Toledo or Cincinnati. maybe, possibly New York and or Los Angeles, if I had to guess. But I'll tell you right now, that movie did not play in Detroit. It didn't play anywhere in Wayne County or anywhere in Michigan. It just didn't. It just wasn't one of those movies. So this person says, but I distinctly remember seeing the trailer for this back in 2012 and just thinking of how perfectly this movie illustrates the double standards society has when regarding violence between the genders. For those who don't know, this is basically a movie where two women go on a killing spree targeting men because they're men, essentially every radical feminist's dream. Granted, this film is not particularly well known. It didn't make a lot of money, as I said, only $7,600. And I believe it only had a very limited theatrical release. Like I said, probably in 3 or 4 different theaters across the United States. And I'm willing to bet that while it was it probably was only in theaters for that one day. Okay. But this goes to show how if there's a movie out there that depicts women killing men because they're men, it's perfectly fine and acceptable. If the genders were reversed, I guarantee you that the feminists, and by extension most other people in society, would be furious at the movie and it would never see the light of day. I can see the point in that. I can tend to agree with that. It certainly wouldn't make it to theaters. Probably not. If TJ ever needs examples or evidence of sexism or double standards against men for a video, then I think this film would be a good example. Now, I'm not saying that this film shouldn't exist or should be banned, but I don't think we should have double standards like this. If it's okay for one gender, it's okay for both genders. And underneath it in parentheses, he says, and yes, I'm aware that this movie was made by a man. I don't think that changes the outright sexism in this movie, though. Hell, Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey were both written by women, and those are considered sexist against women. Now, there's 10 or 11 comments underneath this, and here's what they say. It seems more about revenge than just kill all men from the trailer. I kind of want to watch it just to see, but it looks bad. The person underneath him says, I disagree. While you are right in the premise, in the trailer, they do show scenes of them just murdering innocent men. Well, again, as I stated, there was an innocent man who was murdered at the end. Now, before I state my opinion of that, let me read this one here. Yeah, it looks that way, but I haven't seen the film, so they may explain why they're killing them. I don't know. Either way, it looks like a pretty crappy film. Agreed. This person here says, if the person who made this thing was a man, he probably was trying to prove a point by making it and not receiving any loss of credibility over it. There definitely is a double standard concerning violence between the genders, but I personally don't take offense to this sort of thing. A movie that glorifies killing a bunch of men wouldn't tick me off unless the creators explicitly stated that they were trying to promote killing men. Now, on that point, that makes sense, and I don't think that that's what the writers were trying to execute. I don't think they were trying to imply that, to say, yeah, it's fun to kill men just because we're women and it makes us feel powerful and we're just going to kill men just because. I want to stick this in here right quick. Let me just say this. And keep in mind, pay attention, because I think it's perfectly okay for me to say this just because it's a movie. This was all an act. It's all a script. This is not real life. If it was real life, I mean, anybody could argue it in 1,000 different ways, but we're talking about a movie here. So I can say this and not be in trouble for it. There's no reason for me to get banned on any social media site just because I say this. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. It's a movie, so it's okay for me to say this. So the first guy that they ended up killing, Simon. So as I stated earlier, he stalked her, he harassed her, he assaulted her, he raped her, and she was traumatized from it. And she was so ticked off and so traumatized by it and the police didn't do anything about it. So they went to his place. He was in his garage. He was working on some stuff with a sawmill or whatever. He was doing something. If I said he lured him in there, I misspoke earlier. That's what happened. So they go there and they torture him and they kill him. Again, it's a movie, so it's okay for me to say this. I don't feel bad for that guy. There's a part of me that kind of thinks oh, he got what was coming to him. He kind of deserved it. But I mean, even if they just tortured him but didn't kill him, I would still say I'd be, satisfied with, that because of what he did. It's like, listen, you do that to somebody, you're going to have to pay in some way, shape, or form. Now, the ideal way is, in reality, yeah, The police do something about it. They arrest the guy. They go through a trial and get convicted and go to prison. The whole Law and Order scenario. I mean, you know how it goes. Generally, that would be the idea, but that's not the approach that they took here. So she said, okay, he raped me. I'm going to kill him. Okay, well, I just say, okay. I'm not saying I'm happy about the fact that he was killed, but at the same time, I'm not crying over it either. So it's whatever. It is what it is. Now, underneath this, it says, underneath the comment that talked about trying to promote killing men, one person underneath that said, that could be possible, but I don't know. That could be possible, but I don't know. I was looking over this guy's filmography, and I just don't know. I just don't think he's smart enough to do something like that. I think he just made this film to show off his women's studies degree and court the radical Tumblr feminazi crowd. I'm not really sure what that means. I can't comment on that one too much, so let's go to the next one. Tell me you didn't understand a movie without telling me you didn't understand the movie. Okay, so in that, he's telling me that he doesn't understand the movie. And then I think I was the last person that commented that nobody responded to yet. I said, does anybody know what the budget on this film was? Apparently, the box office was only $7,600. And again, I looked at a source that said the budget was under $1 million, but they didn't state what the budget was. I guess they were embarrassed by it. I don't know. If I had to guess, I wouldn't be surprised if that budget was probably not much more than $100,000 to $150,000. I would say maybe almost $2,000 at most. But then again, Danielle Panabaker is the star of the movie, and she probably was the most recognizable name there. I don't think that she's an A-list star. She might be B or C list, but I could be wrong. I've only seen a couple other things with her, and where she was mainly playing like guest roles and stuff. So I mean that right there is kind of the that's the basis of it. So if you guys want to see the trailer, I'm going to put the link to the trailer in the comment section below. And then if you just want to watch the movie, then go to Plex. If you have that, it's free. It's free to watch the movie. I got to be honest with you. I don't know if there's going to be, actually, no, there's probably not going to be any commercials. I actually rented it somewhere else before I knew that it was on Plex. So I wish I had known that beforehand. But so anyway, I mean, just tell me what you think. You watch the movie, you look at the trailer. Do you think that it's promoting a double standard? Do you think that it's saying that, hey, it's women killing men is better than men killing women? Or because again, I mean, you know what my thoughts are. It's you murder somebody just for the sake of murdering them. I mean, that is a crime, and you go to prison for it. You get at least 25 years for that. But again, this movie tended to ignore those aspects of reality. And I get it. Most people would just say, I mean, it's a movie. So every movie and every show is going to have at least one thing to it that isn't completely attached to reality. No matter what the genre of the movie is, whether it be action or drama or horror or comedy or just anything, there's going to be something there. So, people, I got to tell you, if I had to give my personal rating on it, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it I'll probably only give it a 4 or 5. Because I just think that there could have been a lot more to that movie. And I thought that there was more than just the 2 girls there, the handful of guys that they killed. I didn't know if this was going to be like a whole bunch of girls and a whole bunch of guys. You know, it just seemed like it was something that was, I don't know. I guess I just thought wrong. So that's why I'm kind of a little bit off with this whole description right here. And I'm kind of all over the place with this. So again, Girls versus Boys, 2012, available to watch on Plex. The trailer is in the comment section below. So you just watch it and you tell me what you think. So that's about it for that. And there's not a single other source that's talking about this movie because hardly anybody knows about it. So that's that.